Hello, and welcome to Essential Alchemy. Alchemy is defined as the power or process that changes or transforms something in a mysterious or impressive way. My hope is that the information in this podcast can help you transform your mood, your energy, physical health, or even connect some dots to help you shift your mental or emotional state. I'm your host, Jody Cohen, a best-selling author, award-winning journalist, functional practitioner, lifelong learner, and founder of Vibrant Blue Oils, a company that sells proprietary blends of high-quality organic or wild-crafted essential oil remedies designed to help you return to your ideal mental, physical, and emotional state. You can find out more about me and my company at vibrantblueoils.com. And with that, let's get started with today's episode. I'm so excited to talk about coherent water and the Alem Wand today with the founder of the company. I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'm going to have you say your name for everyone.
Laarakker, Erik Laarakker.
Eric Laarakker is a veterinary acupuncturist, a holistic veterinarian, a teacher, and the founder of Healthcare Academy. He's involved in the International Research Institute Water and Light and performs investigations on health and the quality of crops and food for humans and animals. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So I'm so excited. I live in Seattle and know Gerald Pollack. So I've been obsessed with structured water, coherent water for a while, but it's really hard and can be quite expensive. And so this fabulous product that you've created is incredibly affordable, incredibly easy to use, and really allows so many more people to access the healing benefits of coherent water. So I would love it if you could just first explain what is coherent water and what are the benefits of coherent water.
Well, first, I need to explain that the name coherent water is a theory. It comes out of the quantum physics. And because actually nobody knows exactly what water is, what water does. I can tell you one thing, water is the most intelligent thing, I think, on this planet. And I consider this a living creature by itself. You have to look at it this way. I mean, we look at water as H2O molecules who just move at randomly, in a glass of water. But the truth is completely different. That when the molecules, they move at randomly, there's not a lot of power in it. So you need a lot of water. But if you manage to let all the molecules work together, they move in the same direction in the same way, then it becomes a lot more powerful. Let me explain you by, it's not the same, but just for explanation, the difference between light, normal, ordinary light, and a laser. If you have like a normal, ordinary bulb, then it gives photons, which give you some light. Suppose you will have like a 5-watt lamp in your house, it just gives a little light. But if you would manage them to work all the waves together, then it becomes like a very strong thing, which is called a laser. And a laser 5-watt can burn through the table, if you know what I mean. So in the same way, that's how we look at it. If you manage that all the molecules work together, they form like a kind of crystalline structure. And this crystalline structure is capable of receiving and giving a lot of more energy. It's like constantly in tune with everything around us. Compare it with the first crystal radios, you had a galena crystal in it, which makes sure that you get the right frequencies out of, well, the ether, all the radio frequencies which are there. If you manage to put all the molecules in a certain crystalline form, and then it becomes a lot more powerful because all the energy of the cosmos, all the good energies, let's put it that way, the positive frequencies will be enhanced. And so when you drink that, you get a lot of more energy inside of your body.
No, 100%. And when I looked at what I was calling structured water, and Gerald Pollack's The Fourth Phase of Water, he points out that we're mostly water. And then also water is really not designed to sit still. It's designed to be flowing in streams and moving and not flowing through metal pipes and not having weird chemicals added to it. So
our water is really not the water that the earth kind of intended for us to be consuming.
No, the most waters that we drink, almost all the waters have been damaged in that perspective. True. Yeah.
But I love what you were saying, that water, I don't know what water is either, but it is intelligent, and it can, be restored to factory settings, for lack of a better way of explaining it. So can you talk a little bit about, for those of us who are listening who are like, gosh, my water has fluoride, it's been processed. How do I try to do the best with what I have if I don't live near a spring? How does this tool kind of help us?
Well, first of all, I mean, there are two steps in it. And I personally like to clean it first, on a chemical base, take the toxins
Yeah.
out with a good filter, etc.
Yes.
Although after using this stick, the chemicals become less harmful, I still would not like to drink polluted water. But after that's done, there's one issue, that's what we think, and that the memory, the structure of all these chemicals are still inside. So on the chemical point of view, bacterial point of view, it's out, but still the memory of all of it is still inside. And the Alem Wand is a beautiful way. If you swirl it, then it becomes more or less neutral in this coherent state. Like I said, getting more beautiful information instead of all the chemical information which is still inside. But I would like to emphasize that some people think that this Analemma wand is good enough, to drink dirty water. If you steer it, then it's good enough. No, it's not. I wouldn't drink it out of a lake or something like that, because you still have to first clean it, with beautiful filters. There's a lot of it on the market. And so we like to use it after that, or even before the cleaning system. So then you have best of both worlds. You have beautiful cleaned where all the chemicals are, but also well structured. So there is no place for the information of the toxins of the bacteria anymore.
Yeah. Someone kind of explained our body like an aquarium, right? If you think of an aquarium, if the water is clean, the fish thrive. If the water is dirty, they get sick. And so the more we, are cognizant of what we put into our body, and really drink, not just clean. I mean, clean's a factor, but you kind of mentioned coherence. Can you speak a little bit to how would you define coherence, and what have you found between the correlation of coherent water and health?
Like I said before, it's the non-coherent water. That means, all the molecules, they just do something. They look the same, but they just, move at randomly. There's, we call it dead water. There's no energy into it. Main important thing is what we think is like all the molecules that work together. So they're in the same phase. They move in the same direction. And it's not like there's then, and thus they form a crystalline form. Like when you have a beautiful mountain crystal, it attracts a certain information, gives a certain information. Silicates do that. And that's also why we use silicates anyway, from the wand itself. It's not normal glass, because normal glass doesn't work for it. But we think in one glass, you have like multiple, maybe thousands, maybe millions different types of crystals. So all they are in tune with different frequencies. And that makes a lot difference in your body, because first I need to explain your body is actually not 70% water, what we learn at school. It is in mass. But in molecule wise, actually 99% of the molecules in your body is water. So water is the main ingredient in life. All our body, I mean, we're just like a sea inside of us. Actually, we also have the same mineral account as in the sea. So we are just like with a sea with a skin on it. And when you drink non-coherent water, your body needs to work a lot. It needs to work a
Oh,
lot, because that's maybe the reason why people say you have to drink 1.5, 2 liters of water. But in my opinion, it's a little bit nonsense. Because if you drink good, coherent water, you don't need a lot. Your body knows a lot more what to do with it, so you need to pee less out of it. I mean, if you drink a couple of glasses of water, you have to go to the bathroom very soon, and that's because it's a lot of waste in it. And yeah, but if you think about it, in the old times, 10,000 years ago, when you had to travel from one place A to B, and suppose there was no water down the road. So If you would travel for 10 days, you have to carry, I would carry, had to carry about 20 liters of water, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And so in the desert especially, you see that people and animals who live over there, they actually drink coherent by eating plants. Plants are capable of making coherent water out of water. It's
Yes.
more in this crystalline structure. It's far more efficient. Also, I see it over here. I have a couple of horses over here. When they go outside in a pasture and you have a little bit good grass over there, they drink far less water because it's a lot more efficient. So the benefits of it all, I mean, is almost endlessly. There is no process in your body where water doesn't play the key role in everything. I mean, the DNA structure has been held together by water structures. If moving from inside of the cell, outside of the cell, in reverse, everything has been done by water. Water is the most important ingredient of life. So if you drink coherent water, we did a lot of tests, as you maybe know. First of all, in the beginning, we did start doing research on plants. Actually, for years, we started off to do with biophoton research. About 17 years ago, when the famous Professor Fritz Popp, who invented that in our body, emits light, biophotons, and he made all kind of measurement tools for that. We took over the whole laboratory. We brought it from Germany to the Netherlands, from Royce to the Netherlands, with all the people who worked over there. Well, actually, we were not even busy with water when we came together. Our main goal was, what can we do, which is easy, to help this planet further, because chronic sickness becomes the norm on this planet. I mean, I don't know over there, but I think in this country, 43% of 20-year-old kids already have a chronic disease. I consider that not normal. Evolutionary, that's quite strange. So there's
I
something happening.
think it's worse in the US.
Yeah, I think so too. So we were just looking for what is the main ingredient. What can we do as cheap as possible to give as much benefits for the health that we can find? So then we thought, okay, we check out first on plants, because it's easy. They have a faster turnover. If you want to check it on humans and animals, they have a longer lifespan, and it's not it's not so easy to test in it.
Yeah.
So first we want to be sure, and so we changed all kind of parameters. Make a long story short, we ended up in water. We even bought a whole greenhouse, a 6-acre greenhouse, just for testing, just to see what happens. And then we found that one of the most important thing, actually, besides energy in its broader sense, frequencies, the microbiome is a very important role, but all of it is ruled more or less by water. When we were very confident, we saw that the plants which we fed on, like tomatoes, which we fed with the analemma water, then we saw that we had an increase of 50 to sometimes 100% of biophotons. So that means there's a lot more life, a lot more energy in that tomato. They look the same, though. If you look from the outside, they look the same, but they taste a lot better. There's a lot more taste in it. And we're not even used to a normal taste of vegetables anymore. And if you grow them with analemma water, if you don't use any toxins, they taste completely different. So then we made the huge step, into testing in soil, and we saw that actually the microbiome, which is the amount of bacteria and other viruses, fungi, etc., in the soil, that actually we could restore them after being used with glyphosate and stuff like that, that we could restore the soil very fast after using the analemma water. So
You
then,
mean remineralize the soil?
not remineralize, but the microbiome. So put the right
Okay.
bacteria, fungi, everything in the soil. I mean, this is the most important thing in your soil. You have the mycorrhiza, which are fungi, which are in the soil, and they help the plants to get more nutrition out of the soil. And you see that also there will be more nutrition in the soil, because there is something which we don't look at a lot, but it's called biological transmutation. That means that the microbiome can change minerals into another mineral.
What? Oh, alchemy of minerals.
Yes, did you ever think about how a chicken gets so much calcium inside to lay an egg every day? It need to eat a lot of calcium. Actually, it changes the silicates from the soil into calcium. So there's not much known about it, but also we think that in your gut, these
Yeah.
bacteria, now I'm going to change to your gut. So then we thought, okay, let's do research on that level because we are a microbiome. As you maybe know, in your gut, when you have a healthy gut, there are more than 1,200 different species in a gut. And all of them have their function, and we know just a little about what their function is. You have like 1,000 species on your skin. You have 60 species of bacteria in your bladder, 600 plus in your lungs. And I read somewhere that even now they found like over 1,000 species in your brain. Yeah. So, and on your skin, you have 1,000 species. Actually, we are a colony of bacteria. And the funny thing is that when we tested it on people by drinking the water, we saw an 83% of the dysbiose index in the analemma group. So what we did was a double-blind placebo-controlled research on the gut bacteria. So people had to deliver the stool, they send it to the laboratory, see the microbiome levels are, the differentiation in it. And then we saw that 83% of the enhancement in the dysbiose index in the analemma group and 36% of the dysbiose index, in a better situation in the placebo group, but an 62% got worse or stayed the same. So that means that there's a lot of improvement in your gut bacteria just by drinking different water.
It resets the terrain. And what you're saying is when the terrain is in balance, it's not that you
Exactly.
need to take all these calcium supplements. It just allocates resources to give you what you need. That's amazing.
Yes, the issue is that I worked a lot with vitamins, minerals, and stuff like that, and it's good, to take them. But if your microbiome is not good enough, I mean, a lot of it will go to the toilet, if you know what I mean.
No, that
And
I agree.
but if you have a good microbiome, I like to explain it in the following way. If you would have a bucket, you open a tap,
Mhm.
and when there would be a lot of holes in that bucket, you have to put a lot of water in it, to keep a little bit level of water in it. But if you close the holes, you just need a little of it.
Mhm.
So yes, I'm convinced that if you drink the right water, so if you have the right microbiome in your body, you don't need as much vitamins, and you can take a lot more good vitamins out of good food. And of course, good food is the most important thing in that way. It's even better than swallowing all the minerals and vitamins. And so a healthy gut, equals a healthy brain, equals a healthy immune system, equals almost everything in that perspective.
You're setting up the terrain because the terrain is 99% water. And if we can set up the water for ideal function, then you set up the body for ideal function.
Yes. So from that moment on, we started to do a lot more research on the human body. We did a glycanage study, and I don't know if you know what it means, but glycans are sugar molecules attached to proteins. And the main antibody protein of the human immune system, the immune globulins, they can be marked with different glycans, which determines whether a protein of the immune system will be anti-inflammatory or pro-inflammatory. Now, the balance between it is very important. If it shifts to the pro-inflammatory glycans, it will lead to low-grade systemic infections, and that which underlies faster aging and disease in a body. So what we did, we had a group of people, and they start drinking the water for, I think it was 2 months, and we did a glycanage test before and after, and out of the 21, 20 of them, the glycanage changed dramatically. So they had a reversed aging from between 1 and 12 years, and the average of 4 years. So only by drinking that analemma water, they had a reversed age biologically for 4 years.
So basically, what I hear you saying, to simplify, there are a lot of man-made toxins that are kind of disrupting our natural terrain. This is basically allowing us to put water, which is the primary, it's foundational for us, in a structured way that kind of restores the terrain. It puts the body in balance, and then the body starts to
Exactly. So also on all levels, maybe
Right.
I can mention one other research that we did, which is, I think is very special, is that, you know about ATP
Mhm.
and
Oh,
the,
yeah, energy, yeah.
mitochondria.
Right.
And almost the mitochondria, they determine everything, actually all the food, what you eat, the glucose has been changed into ATP, and that's the food of your body. All your brain use a lot of ATP, your muscles, everything in your body uses a lot of ATP. And we found out, was also double-blind placebo-controlled research, that by only after 2 months of drinking the water, there was an enhancement of 23% of ATP in the blood. So even these little mitochondria inside of your cell, which are which used to be bacteria also. So from all sides, it's very beneficial for your complete health. On, like you said, on the terrain, and that's your microbiome, that's the water, these are mitochondria, etc. Immune system.
So here's what I love and what I want to talk about a little bit. You've made this incredibly easy tool. Talk to me a little bit about what this wand is and how people use it so that they can start adding coherent water to their life.
Yes. What we created is what we call a kind of mother water, and it takes over several devices and up to a year to get all the information in it. And that's why we call it analemma. Analemma is the movement of the sun to the earth. And we have a season where we found out that even, like the frequencies of your liver are today are not the same as tomorrow. Nothing is, it's a living system. And so it takes us over a year to create the mother water. But that mother water wants to copy itself because that's the way nature intended it to be. So it took us a while to figure out how we tested different materials. And then we came up to a quartz crystal. And quartz crystal actually is amazing. Those silicates, they can receive information, store it, and give it to the next level. So actually what you do, because of the mother water, which is inside, when you stir in a glass or in a jar or whatever, then all the water will get almost the same structure as inside of that wand.
Amazing, amazing. And you have people activate it in sunlight for a minute?
Well, to be honest, it's not even per se necessary. The funny
Oh.
thing is, we tested a lot of water devices, and the biggest problem is stability. And that makes also the analemma water completely different from almost all the other waters which we tested. Is that usually, you have a lot of devices who swirl, who use magnets, crystals, and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with it, but the memory is gone after half a minute or a maximum 1.5 day. But this will stay. For you to know, all the tests that we did was with old water in a laboratory with human beings and in the soil, everything. Sometimes we even use like 9-month-old water. And that's extraordinary that water stays in that stable position. So that's why you can use the wand. Well, actually mine, which I use now, is 3 years old already. And I still have the
Amazing.
same one.
Amazing.
And so,
Okay.
so that will make it stable in your glass, if you know what I mean.
So if listeners are going to buy this, we're going to have a link below and receive it in the mail. What would you like? They're so excited. They have their wand. How do they get started? What do they do?
Just swirl the water.
Does it matter if it's in a plastic container, a glass container?
No, that doesn't matter.
Okay.
That doesn't matter. Of course, I mean, glass, I don't like plastic containers because I don't like plastic, especially not the soft plastic bottles, because you get this stuff and the chemicals inside from the plastic. But for the coherence, it doesn't matter. But come back to your question, do you need to put it in the sun? I love to do it sometimes, but it's not strictly necessary to do it. It gives it a plus.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so it gives it just an extra energy. It's not per se necessary. I mean, in the wintertime, we don't have a lot of sun in the whole wintertime, so otherwise I could not use it. But
Yeah.
no worries, you can use it.
Okay. And then another question we get often is just for water, can people use it for their coffee, for any liquid, or just water?
No, for any liquid. If you like wine, use it for your wine. Will taste a lot better.
Amazing.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he loves beers, so he uses it in his beers. So it doesn't matter as long as there's water inside.
Yes.
Okay, I have to correct me a little bit. I mean, be careful after you cook your tea, of course. Don't swirl too long with it in the hot tea because it will heat up and then it will explode. If you
Yeah.
know, if you,
No. Yes.
for
Yeah.
being practical. So usually, like for coffee and tea, what I advise is make it coherent before.
The water,
And
right.
and then when it boils, it takes a little while, and then it will go back to its coherent position. So maybe after that you can swirl again very fast. That's also a possibility. But to be honest, in my farm where I live, I don't use it because we have a whole house analemma, which is built in. So all the water for showering, when I have a bath, with all the water over here is coherent.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's like next level. The other question that we get often for, there's a lot of 5G, a lot of frequencies in the States, and this seems to kind of help people mitigate the impact of that. Can you talk a little bit about how your water might help you be less affected by EMFs?
I'm a little bit careful to say too much about it because it's also, of course, a political agenda in it.
Right.
But what we did was actually we did a lot of brainwave tests, and when people drink the analemma water, the funny thing is that straight after drinking the water, in a couple of seconds, you see the brainwaves changing, and that goes very fast. And I think is through the nervus vagus, which have a straight communication with your brains. We saw a huge more coherence in the brain waves. We did it on the twins, we tested it. Did a lot of tests on it. Also double blind. And what we found that every time, the brain waves change. Then we let them call with a cell phone, put a cell phone on their head, and then you see a complete change in the brain waves. It's a little bit scary, to be honest. I mean, everybody uses a cell phone, but if you look at it, how the brains change after putting a cell phone on your head, it's amazing. The good news was that immediately after drinking a glass of water, even when the cell phone was on their head, we saw the brain waves changing back to normal. And so, at least for the brain waves, we dare to say that, it's very beneficial. And with 5G, I'm very careful because it's not even rolled out all the frequencies. So, we're not sure what all of this is going to do. But we know for sure, we've been testing water on biophotons on plants and everything, which was been standing next to a Wi-Fi router for months. And still, after using that, we had the same results as, not using the Wi-Fi in it. So for most EMFs, it helps a lot. It doesn't mean that you don't feel it anymore.
Right.
Sometimes I even have the idea that you feel it a little bit better,
Oh,
but it
interesting.
makes you less sick. And why? I mean, the funny thing is when you start drinking the analemma water, you will notice that you become more sensitive. More or less, your body knows better for you what is good and what's not so good for you. Your body starts rejecting some kinds of food, which is not good for you. And people get more consciousness. That's quite funny that people change in their behavior, everything. And I think it's due to because you get all the right good cosmic information in your body. So you'll become far more conscious. And so, like my children, they've been growing up with this water. And they still like to play, of course, on a computer and stuff like that. And we let them. But if I put on like the Bluetooth of my phone, they feel it immediately. In 2 seconds, you put on the Wi-Fi or the
Mhm.
Bluetooth. They notice it immediately. And it's less harmful, but it's not that you don't feel it
Yeah.
anymore. I mean, that's a differentiation. But
Oh,
as far as
I
I'm
think
concerned,
that.
you should feel what is good or not good for you.
No, I agree with you. And I'm wondering for people who are listening, is there a way that they can see the published research that you mentioned? Can they go
Yes, yes,
somewhere?
and on the website of Analemma, the most of it has been published over there
Okay.
on the research. I mean, we just finished a beautiful research in agriculture, and actually we found that the CO2 uptake in plants enhances a lot, and they start giving more oxygen. They need less water, have a far better resilience, far better immune system, and it's going to be published, this study, soon. So on any level, well, we see a lot of benefits for it. And it's like you said, it's easy to use. I mean, you can carry it. And that was our goal, it must be
Yeah,
easy to use and it must be accessible for
exactly.
everybody.
Carry it in your purse.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there anything that I haven't asked that you would like to share?
Well, I just want to share that actually our main goal when we start doing this, I go back to what I started with, is that we wanted to get something on the market, which helps and which is beneficial for all, and not only for a happy few, but it's beneficial for the soil, which is beneficial for plants, which is beneficial for animals, for everything. And actually, our main goal somewhere at the end of the line is that we want to get all the waters on this planet coherent again. Think about what would happen if how everything would thrive if all the lakes, rivers would be coherent again. The plants start to regrow and everything will be a lot healthier. So actually that's our main goal in the future, that we don't have any business anymore, that all the waters on this planet will be coherent.
Amazing. And you can even do this in your pet's water bowl, correct?
Yeah, yes, yes,
Yeah.
no issue. No issue. You can, I mean, there are even people who they use it for the cow stables, pig stables, whatever. I mean, especially with the whole house on a lemma, you can do a lot more. One other thing I would like to say is use it in your bathtub.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but with
It's
the
amazing what
yeah.
happens. I mean, we've been in the midst of now of a huge research with people with cardiac problems. We just soak them in water and we see amazing results. They lay down for half an hour in the analemma water. And how I usually do it is when I open my bath, you put it just in your bath and leave it over there if it's not too hot, and swirl a little bit and then take it out, dry it well. And then all the water in your bathtub will be coherent. And that even gives a surplus. And the reason why is, I think, that because it makes the disharmonic tones around us harmonic. Water is capable of making disharmonic tones harmonic. So all the information which enters your body, comes out of your body, will be a lot more harmonic. And of course, you have an uptake of water, half liter, I think, in half an hour. So from both sides, I love to use it internally, but also externally, also on my plants. Now we just created a garden analemma, so you can spray your plants with it. And it's beautiful, amazing to see. Plants love it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time, for your brilliance, and for this amazing, easily accessible tool. We are so excited to share this with our community, and thank you for everything.
Thank you for having me over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope this podcast empowered you with some useful information and takeaways. If you liked this episode, please consider sharing a positive review or subscribing. I would also love to offer you my free parasympathetic toolkit as a gift just for listening. It will teach you how to activate the most important nerve in your body to turn on your ability to heal. This free toolkit includes a checklist, a video, and a detailed guide. If this podcast prompted any questions, you can always find answers at my blog at vibrantblueoils.com or my book, Essential Oils to Boost the Brain and Heal the Body. Until next time, wishing you vibrant health.